All right, we're back. This is a special broadcast. Normally we do things on Saturdays, but today we're doing it on Friday. And it's for COMP305 in the fall 2017 semester, and it's week 10, part 1 of our broadcast. We're still talking about animation, and we're kind of following through with some of the stuff we talked about last week. But this week we're also going to use a new tool for Unity, which is called Anima2D. Now, I know it's been covered with Wallace and other classes, and I just wanted to do the same kind of thing for my section. So that's why I'm covering this new tool. I'm also broadcasting remotely, so it might be slightly different than you're normally used to. All right, so we're going to build this new project. I was kind of working on it on my own just to make sure that it all worked out, and it does. I'm going to save it and close it off. We're going to get to this again. And I'm going to build it up from scratch. So here's Fireworks. I'm just going to get away from Fireworks for 1 second while we take a look at what we have from before. So I have a little bit of a messy desktop today, but that's because I'm working hard. All right, so let's take a look at our GitHub repo. So we're going to go to our GitHub repo for Centennial College. And from there, if you notice from last week, we have a COMP305 F2017 platformer demo, which we're going to base our project off of today. So I'm just going to download this demo, but I'm going to do it so that I can update the repo as opposed to just download the zip file. So again, just like last time, I'm going to kind of copy this. I'm going to go to my trusty little console. Again, I'm using a Mac this time instead of a Windows machine like last time. And what I'm going to do is I want to go into the folders part of my Mac into Unity projects. And this is where I want this project to be copied, right? So it's going to be in here. So I'm going to kind of CD into this Unity projects folder, right? So I'm in there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, once I'm there, I'm going to git clone, and I'm going to copy that link that I just got from GitHub. And then what it's going to do, it's going to take this folder, and it's also going to keep all the stuff that I had. So all my commits, if I go to now into that new project that I just made, so COMP305 in the fall 2017 semester, right? In my platformer demo, oops, if I actually do it properly. So platformer, right? And if you look at it, I actually have a Git repo now attached to it. Okay, so if I do a list, you can see that that's all good. And this is where I'm gonna, kind of do everything. That's going to be based off of this repository. All right, so that's cool. That's what I'm doing. Now, so for you, you just have to continue what you were doing. I'm just moving it over to there. I'm going to bring up Unity. Again, I'm currently using version 2017.2, and I'm going to start off with a brand new project, or open the project that I was working on before, which is that one that I just downloaded, COMP305 in the F2017. And the platformer demo, this one right here. Lots of them I got, right? We've been doing this for a while now. Okay, so I'm going to open this up, and we should see last week's project. Okay, even though I built it up with the PC last week. This week I'm building it up with a Mac, and overall it's around the same thing in terms of the kind of control and everything else. Unity is really good at being a very compatible cross-platform, game engine. All right, so great. So I've got this thing. I've got some basic things going on. But remember what we did last time when we did this little platformer demo? We're just starting it off. And if I was to press play, you can see that I've got this idle animation here, for this thing. But this has been created. This animation has been created by whoever made the Sprite sheet. And again, I've been borrowing this for a couple of years now. We're not using it for professional reasons. We're just, using it for demonstration purposes. All right, so that's what this thing does, but that's not going to do what I want it to do. What if I had my own animations, or I wanted to create my own character and animate it, and without cheating, without putting it in something like Blender and trying to move it around in 3D and having it animate? I want to use somebody else's stuff, but I want to have more flexibility in terms of the poses that I could create. In this case, I only have a few animations. I only have the idle and the jump and so on. And what I want to do is I want to make it more fluid. So I want to use the built-in animation system with Unity, but I also want to use this new tool called Anima2D. So what is Anima2D? Just to see if we can find it. So if I go Anima2D, and it's in the asset store, we can download from the asset store, but they actually have their own website as well. One day when it comes up. There's Anima2D, right? Anima2D is a, it's kind of a free plugin, if you will, or package from Unity Technologies, from the people that make Unity. And it's a really great thing. And what it allows you to do is create animations with bones using forward kinematics and inverse kinematics, which is really cool stuff. So I'm going to show you some of that. We'll talk about a little bit what forward kinematics is and what inverse kinematics is for those people who don't know. But we are really, at the end of the day, we're just going to make a very simple animation today for our character. And then we'll have that as an option. Instead of you having some baked animation from somebody else, you can make your own by using simple shapes. But we're going to use the animations that we already have some of the same sprites. We're going to cut them up. We're going to make new body parts. And then from there, we're going to make our animation a little bit different than what it was before. Okay, cool. So that's what we're going to use. So in order for me to get this going, I need to download it. I'm going to bring up Unity again. And I've already have this package. I've downloaded it before. But what you want to do is you want to go into your asset store. So I'm going to open up asset store by window asset store. It's going to bring it up. And what this will do is eventually when it runs, when the asset store comes up, you'll see that there's going to be a little search. And what we want to do here is we want to search for Anima2D. If I search for Anima2D, press enter, it should find the package. And it did. It's just way down here. Anima2D. How about we just take the Anima away, and we'll just go down here and find Anima2D. Of course, never comes up when you want to, which is really weird because that should totally come up. So if I go, how about we do Unity Technologies, and we'll kind of kind of close up those filters a little bit, and we will press enter, and hopefully that'll be enough so that way we can see some of this stuff from Unity Technologies. And we're looking for something called, when it comes up, Anima2D. I love it. Of course, when we try and look it up with my system today, for whatever reason, it's not coming up very quickly. But these are all the different packages that kind of meet. There's also it looks like a crazy sale on right now, and that's why we're not seeing anything, because we're just being bombarded in the asset store by all the sales stuff that's coming up. So one more time. Let's see if I can do this one more time. Anima. We'll make it free, so we'll filter it a little bit more, Anima2D. And what we'll do is we'll make it only free, so free only, which should limit some of this stuff that we see. Anima2D, price is 0. Maybe I have to spell it differently. Oh, there it is. Ah, here it is. So Unity Anima2D, I'll be okay. You guys probably did it faster than I did, people who are watching. All right, and eventually when this thing comes up, you'll get a screen where you can download Anima2D. So please download it. I don't see it right now because it looks like something's not right with my asset store, which is totally fine. But I already have it. I've downloaded Anima2D before. And what I'm going to do is, as soon as I have access to this, I have a bunch of other packages that I've downloaded. One of them is Anima2D. So I'm just going to kind of go down in here until I find it, and it's from Unity Technologies, so it should be kind of with a use. Yeah, lots of packages. And way down at the bottom, there's Unity Anima2D, so that's how you probably search for it. And I'm just going to import it. I already have it downloaded. You'd have to download it. When I import it, it's going to ask me to what I want. I want all of it. They've got some really cool example packages as well. It's great for learning, but we're going to make our own little clips and everything else. I'm just going to click import, which is going to download and install Anima2D into our application. And when it's done, I'm going to close off this store, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we need this package. This is one of them. We already have the texture packer importer package, so we don't have to do that. And then what I'm going to do after this is I'm going to kind of put this up on GitHub. So I'm going to close this tab. Okay, there's my guy, but I've got additional packages here. I'm going to save my scene. I'm going to file and save my project. And then I'm going to close off Unity because I like to do that before. So I've just added, in this step, I've just added Anima2D. So I'm going to go here and say git add dot. This is for you guys too. Git commit -m. And then I'll say added Anima2D package. And that's what this does. And then I'll git, oops, hear that? Git push origin, oops, I can spell origin, to master. And that'll push everything up to master so that you have what I have. So if you want to go up on GitHub now, you'll have my Anima2D edition. And all I've done is I've just kind of downloaded that. And it'll update this. It's not that much more. It looks like it's about an additional 13 megs I've put up. And that's what Anima is. Okay, cool. So now I'm ready to relaunch Unity. And again, I kind of close things down. Maybe one day Unity will have a kind of a integrated Git. It doesn't, unfortunately. But I'm just going to bring up this and we're going to continue. And I think they have other integrations like Perforce and so on. But, you know, for the average Joe, Git would be great. GitHub. All right, so yeah, so here we go. I've got my stuff, and this is the one part I have to do. The other thing I need to do is, if we notice, I have these sprite sheets. So if I go into sprite sheets, I have my hero sprite sheet right now. And that's the one that I want to work with, the hero sprite sheet. But you notice I have all these different sprites. And instead of having all these different sprites, I only need a couple of them. I need the idle pose. I need to get his body. I need to split this guy up into his body, his arms, his legs. I got to do that. His head, that's got to be kind of different, a different piece. And this way I can, when I cut these pieces up, I can use forward kinematics. So actually put bones in here in order for me to animate what's, this whole thing. So that's the next part, what we're going to do. So we need to do a little bit of, graphic manipulation. You can use your favorite graphic program. For me, I'm using Adobe Fireworks CS6, which is kind of the one I like to use. All right, so for this, I need to go into the original kind of folder. I already have the body parts. I've kind of done this before, but I'm going to kind of do it with you so that you know how to do it. I'm going to go into my Unity projects folder. I'm going to go into COMP305, F2017 platformer demo, and then from there go into my assets folder. One thing I want to try and do before I continue is I definitely want to create some kind of additional folder that has my my cut up sprites. So almost like these, it's not just in sprite sheets. So I've got sprite sheets, I've got sprites, and now I'm making kind of some body parts, and they're going to be inside the sprites folder. That's where I'm going to go. Okay. So, but I'm going to base it off our sprite sheet because we have a sprite sheet right now. I'm going to make a new one, new sprite sheet off this new sprite, these new sprites I'm going to be creating. So in here, I'm going to go back into my hero. I've got lots of these little poses, and just so I can see them, I'm going to go into the poses that I can see. And what I want to try and do is grab some basic parts from different poses, put them together, do some graphic manipulation, and then use those parts as in order for me to make my other animations. Okay, so I'm going to click this idle pose. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what we got. So there's my idle pose. I just want to cut the head out here. And so I'm going to use the head and the neck, this part area here, so I can create my, head. So I'm just going to cut it out with my little lasso tool. And again, you can be as careful as you like. I'm going to kind of do it as fast as possible. I do want to get the neck here, which is what I'm doing. Okay, and I'm kind of going to go out here, and let's go around his little hair there, and boom. Okay, I've got that. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back into Fireworks, press New, and then just paste it in there. So now I only have his head. Now you can do that with any program that you like. I just find Fireworks nice and easy and carefree. All right, so I'm going to say File, Save As, and I want to save this new, going back into my Unity projects. I'm going to go into COMP305, 2017, platformer demo. I'm going to go into my assets folder. Inside my assets folder, I'm going to go into my sprites, and in here I'm going to make a new folder called it's because it's parts, right? So I'm going to say hero parts. That's what it's going to be. So hero parts, and create. Now you can create this any way you like. but I've just chosen hero parts. And of course, if I will do this again for the enemy when we get back. I won't do that today. Okay, cool. So I'm going to save the head. So there's the head part. Of course, I didn't save it with any kind of name. File, save as. Yes, Tom. Head. That's what it should say. Head, right? Not this other thing. Okay, cool. Now, there's some good things I can grab from here, too. I can probably grab my arm, but my leg seems to be, even though it's in this pose, I can't really see. There's some part of it that's going to be cut off, right? And that's a problem. Okay, so I'm going to kind of look for other poses that are maybe have more visibility. Definitely this leg here, the back leg and the back arm and hand, I don't really see a lot. So again, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Whoa. And just get closer. And again, all you see now, you should see more pixels. I'm going to kind of grab this arm from the where I think the shoulder should be, which is right about here. Again, you know, if you're making your own stuff, that's totally cool. That's the better way to do it. But I'm not going to make my own stuff. I'm going to use the same hero sheet just from a demo perspective. So I'm going to kind of grab his shoulder here where I think his shoulder is. There's his arm. And again, you know, kind of being as careful as I can be to grab his arm and hand here. And this is really the rest position or bind pose, if you will, that I'm going to be using. And then we should be able to get most of his arm here that I want. And you know what, maybe I have to clean this up a little bit too. This arm is kind of messy, especially back here. I've got part of his shirt here, not just his arm. And I want to be able to take some additional stuff. And if I don't feel happy with this, I can always do it again. I'm just going to do it now because from a timing perspective. Okay, so a new little file. Here's my arm. Zoom in. That doesn't look bad. You know, I probably want to clean up some of the black areas, so I'm going to just add some. I'm going to go into my brush tool. I've kind of got it to a very low setting. I'm going to just use my brush tool to select the color that's a little bit closer, maybe this color here, and just to kind of add some anti-aliasing here. Try that again. Just some anti-aliasing because I want to add this this color, right? And it's the same color that I'm trying to grab from here. There we go. So kind of a little bit just to frame that arm a little bit better, right? And also maybe over here. So kind of adding a little bit of pixel art. This green part right here, you can see that it's taken when I did my cut. It takes a little bit of that green part. So I'm going to get rid of that by just cleaning it up with the eraser tool. So it's kind of clean. Otherwise, you're going to have extra piece to your arm. And there's going to be this blue area, which is the shirt. And I want to kind of clean it up again so it looks as good as possible. Good. Okay, so it looks pretty good. One thing I always like to do with this is trim my canvas. So I'm kind of just going to go modify canvas and then trim canvas. So it's just the smallest part that I can get. Now there is a bit of a extra space over here. And what I like to do for that is definitely use a crop tool just so that way I have the minimum space for my arm. So there's the arm. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So file, save as, and that's the right arm because as the hero faces us, we'll say right arm. So right arm, right, ping. There we go. Now the left arm is kind of like this, but it's a little different. And one thing that really bugs me here is, I still got this green area, kind of green areas in the arm, and I'm not sure that I like that. Let me just clean that one up just a little bit more. Just get rid of some of this green stuff and just, you know, maybe add some of that brown in there instead. So just do a little bit of just, you know, pixel art, like I said, where maybe we actually can use a brush tool instead. Yeah. And then kind of grab this brown and put that here. Let's try that again. This brown and put that here. This brown here. It's amazing. All right. And put that here, like I said. It's more of a darker brown than that one. Not really getting a great color balance here. I guess it's not really finding the one that I want. But there we go. Okay, so kind of do one of those. I'm going to get rid of that one too. Just so that you can see the hand, but the hand has got some brown around it. And if I don't like it, I can always go back and maybe as I look at this, maybe I want to I may have to trim this even more. But that's got to be trimmed there. Okay, so cool. So I'll save that. Right arm done. All right, let's go back to the idle animation. So I did this part. I can probably grab this first leg, but then I'm going to have to make some modifications because the leg only stops here, and I want to kind of make it so it goes more. For the legs, maybe what we can do is look at some other animations that we already have, some other art, and maybe we can grab that leg from, and the other arm from other stuff we saw. Also the body, I don't quite have the body yet because the body is missing um, part of it because of this arm that's in here, right? So there's actually another, it looks like the body has a striped shirt, and I need to grab that as well. Okay, so cool. So let's close this one off. We don't need this idle animation anymore. And I'm going to open up another one. So I'm going to say File, Open. We're going to go back to here, and let's see if there's another one that's maybe better. Okay, that's, so his arm is back a little bit more on that one. And I know it might be hard for some of you to see, but see, now this isn't bad. This is not a bad idea. I've got my animation, and I see I've got my, this is where he's jumping. So he's actually got his leg, and I've got his, I want to kind of get his leg in as straight as possible, right? As straight as possible, because that way it'll kind of give us an idea of, and for each leg too, like this might be good for his left leg, or sorry, his right leg, because the right leg is right there in front of us. Let's open that up. And also for his, maybe for even for his body, right? All right, so there we go. Yeah, that looks pretty good for his right leg, right here. Left leg is kind of bent, which I don't want. I'm not sure if we'll ever see his his left leg straight, but we'll see if we can get that. We also have no arm, but we need to get this kind of body pose that we're going to get. Okay, so let's just grab that. I'm going to go in here. We'll grab his body first. So I'm going to kind of start off. Now it's kind of weird because we're grabbing a body that maybe not exactly perfect, but we're going to see if we can grab, maybe do this a couple times. So just to do this, I'm going to grab this part. And again, I want to see if I can clean it up afterwards because it won't be exactly perfect as we are clipping some of this stuff. There we go. Cool. So I'll copy that, make a new file for the body, and then go in there. So that's not bad. Again, I want to kind of clean that up a little bit. It's pretty clean, but there's some areas here that are green that will come out when I go and bring it back into Unity. And I don't want too many green areas or blue areas or anything else. So kind of clean that area up here, which I'm going to kind of do on my own. Go back and fix that area up. This is kind of back, produce some additional anti-aliasing, I guess, that was used to draw this this character. All right, so let's see if I can grab some of these browns or kind of grays. Of course, it's not coming out exactly like I like. There we go. And then I want to kind of surround any kind of blacker areas with that. And then I can kind of go in there. This is really dark over here. And I'm just going to get rid of it because that's looking like there's some greens in there. Okay, so that's kind of the body. And there's maybe a blue that I can probably put in there just to help myself out. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing. Maybe grab one of these blues here. It's kind of hard to see. Try it again with my, so kind of looks like I got a blue. I got to be really careful what I choose here. And then you can see that I got these other blues. Okay, cool. So I got this blue. That's fantastic. Now it's a good time to crop. Let's see if I can crop this thing. So I'm just going to grab only the stuff that I need up to about right there. Maybe this one here we can even get rid of. But for now, let's just do that. I'll crop it all up, and I'll go to this and start cleaning this area up so I don't have any remnants, because you can't see them. They're very, very light, but actually for me, I can see them. They're kind of going to color the background of our screen. Maybe get rid of that too, just to make it easier, and then recrop. So I want to just have a smaller file. All right, cool. So that's the body. So I'm going to say File, Save As, and we'll do the body. We'll say Body. Cool. Now we need the right arm, as the left arm, so we got the body. We need this. The arm is okay, this arm, and we got this leg. Maybe we can grab this leg. It's kind of straight, and if I grab it, and I can, it looks like this. There's the back leg, right, and it's darker. Then we can do a little bit of a trick. I'm going to straighten this leg out a little bit with my little art, and then let's see what happens. So, okay, I'm going to grab. We also got to we have to make this leg just a tad longer. I'm going to kind of make it into there, right? But for now, we're just going to kind of cut this part and do one of those. just to cut that leg off as close as possible there. Okay, so just to highlight that leg. So copy, and I'll go back and make a new one, file new, and paste. There's a leg. Now what I want to do is straighten it up, okay? Because then this is approximately the leg. But I couldn't use the other one because it wasn't quite straight in the regular pose. I'm going to show you what it would look like if the leg is altered. So that's kind of the leg that we're looking at right there. And I want to kind of make the same leg twice. So I kind of want to use this leg to make the back leg as well with different things. But notice that there are some lines we can sweep up, some whites here and some black that we can do. We want to kind of make this animation change as soon as we can. So let's just clean up the file first. So get rid of some of this stuff. And I want to make the leg a little bit different for us. There's some blue. I want to get rid of that. Definitely get rid of this part because that part is going to be where we extend it. We want to kind of extend the leg all the way up there. There are some blues and greens. And I want to make this green part, this part here, over here. So first let's make it black. I want to get this black part here. Then I'm going to add the black part in there. So just add that in. And then make it so that it's kind of straight as much as possible. It's kind of going to go up to there approximately. Maybe make it more so that the leg does one of these, and you'll see why later on. I've been playing with it today, so so I've kind of made this leg. I'm going to add some anti-aliasing and take this away, you know, so that way it looks a little cleaner. So just do one of these. Get rid of all this stuff. Here's an example. All right, and maybe even clean up some of this thick edge here, or this part here. I'm going to clean this part up here so that the leg is a little straighter. You know, again, maybe clean up some of this anti-aliasing and put it back a little bit. And this part down here, I want to kind of make it so that there is a solid foot for our new character that we're using. Because we're using another character to base it off of. Really, we're almost creating our own with the work we're doing here, but it's okay. So here's our stuff. We're just anti-aliasing this part, making it a little bit gray here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to kind of select that area up there, make that the same black color, and then make the green color up here. So we're going to kind of pick that one. So pick this one in here. Try it again. It's because we're getting some other colors when we're picking. I want to make sure we get the green. There we go. And it's just for now, paint it all the same. We're going to go back in there and just fix that up in a second. So just approximately do that same stuff there and get rid of this part and then do some anti-aliasing with the lighter greens that we can see there. So I'm going to leave some of them there so I can pick them and use those for the edges and so on. All right, but that's what our character is going to look like right now, the leg, and then I'll change the color for the other leg. All right, so instead of making it, taking it from the other side. Okay, so how do we do this? So this is the right leg. You can see that this is, I need to take some other colors here. So I'm going to go here and grab some of these lighter colors. So first I'm going to start off with these colors. See if that looks any different. Yep. And kind of surround the leg with a little bit of this roundedness stuff. And it just is just to create some additional color variation as opposed to you know, the way we had it. That's way too dark. And I got to be careful when I do my eyedropper. My eyedropper is working really weird today, so I don't know why, but that's fine. So do one of these, and we'll have a little bit of color variation in the leg. Yay! Okay, that's the right leg. So we'll say File, Save As, and we'll call that right leg. So right leg. We'll save that up. Okay, cool. Now the left leg is almost like the right leg. And you know, in fact, we want to make it almost exactly identical. We have a bit of a problem because not all of this will show. So we're going to have an area here where the legs are going to be covered up by the shirt, which is good because then they won't show this leg just being kind of disembodied this way, which is kind of weird. So if we look at the jump, we can see that the leg color is different. And I'm going to grab this leg. And the reason why they did this, the artist, I'm sure, is because they kind of wanted to make it so that the back arm and back leg are slightly darker to, you know, from a lighting perspective. So I'm going to kind of see if I can paint this leg here a different color in the middle. And actually what I'll do is maybe I'll paint the whole leg first and then just go back and, oops, go back and anti-alias or add some color variation because otherwise it looks too pastel-y, right? Anti-aliasing is not my thing to do. Okay, great. So that's the new color that it's going to be. I also got to look at the shoe. Oops. The shoe is darker as well. So that's what I got to do. So now the leg, it looks like it's pretty clean actually. I've had my own anti-aliasing from before, but let's make that leg this shoe the same color. So again, and notice that the shoe is also brighter white and this is darker white. So just minor things that we're going to do. So I'm going to grab this shoe color and I'm going to go back to the right leg and just change the shoe color here so that it is a different color, keeping most of the other colors the same. And then change these white areas until they're the same as the other one. Now there's other tricks you can use, I'm sure, to get that color, but I'm not going to do that today. So that's just another lesson. All right, so kind of a grayish color is what I've got now. And I'm going to go back to the right leg. And any whites I'm going to replace with the gray, this grayish color. There you go. And maybe some color variation here. I'm going to grab some of that other green, this part. I can just, there we go. And just add some color variation to this just so that it's not exactly always boring. Okay, cool. So that's the left leg. And I'm going to save that as that. So file, save as, and I'll say left leg. Left leg dot paint. Almost done. Now we got the left arm. The left arm is tricky because it's a different shape and I can't use the same kind of shape that I have right now. Okay, so it's the we got different body parts now, and now our character is going to look different. It's not going to look exactly like this guy looks. Not exactly. We got our body. We got left leg. Let's see if I can find the left arm somehow. And again, I would just open up another file. Maybe we can find there's maybe the left arm that's more kind of visible. And I got a little bit of it here, but it looks like his left arm is being covered up by his body, and I want to kind of get it as in a position as best I possibly can. It looks like maybe this one will be the best left arm I can get, right? This one here, and I'm going to think about it. I may have to do the same trick that I did on the right arm on the left arm. So let's just take a look at this walk cycle and see what I got. So I got this left arm, but it's kind of wow. It kind of grows. They kind of made it so it grew and doesn't look quite right. You know what? Maybe we'll do the same trick. It looks like even that the blue isn't really much different. If I kind of go zoom in there, I don't think these guys made it too much different in terms of blue. So I think they made the same blue. They made a little bit of a change there. That's it. But that can be kind of come out. I think we can probably use the right arm and then make it to that. So it's the left arm. So we'll make this the left arm and we'll just add a little bit more. Make this shade a shade darker just to kind of go with the other arm, even though the original artist didn't do that. All right, so how do we do that? I'm just going to get the eyedropper again, the eyedropper tool, and go for kind of the lightest or kind of a shade of blue. There we go. That one that's kind of darker, and see if I can shade this arm so that there is a difference between one arm and the other. And I'm going to change that. I'm going to change that white to gray, the gray of the shoe, because that's the one thing I want to do. And maybe leave the hand a little bit because I want to make it a little bit different. So here's the left leg. Let's get this gray that we use in the shoe. So I'll kind of grab that gray scale. There we go. And go back to the arm and just change that white so that it's that. All right, so we can see it, but it's kind of darker. Might work for us. File, save as. And the other thing is, before we do that, this arm is the right side. We want to kind of put it on the left side. So we want to kind of change some of these highlights so it looks like it's the shoulders on this side. In fact, what we want to do is we could mirror, but the thing is then it would look this, it would kind of be wonky, right? So I want to just move the ball over here instead of over here. So I'm going to do some magic, right? I'm going to mirror this part only. So I can just kind of, just take this and I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to put a new layer. So that's that part of the arm. So I'm going to put a new layer in there. So here's my bitmap layer. I'm not going to add a new layer. So you can see that I can add a new layer. You know, this, again, you can do this with um, um, any version of Photoshop or whatever. So now that's back in, but now it's this layer. So if I kind of hide this layer off, and then what I can do is I want to flip this thing. So I'm going to transform, and I'm going to scale, and I'm going to see if I can't scale this thing this way. That didn't work. So I'll try that again. So I want to transform, numeric transform, and I want to scale it, but I want to scale it by, on this way, -100, which kind of forces it to be completely flipped, which is not what I want. One more time. Almost there. We're almost there. I know what to do. All right, so we just won't make this linked. We'll unlink it so that it'll open up that little thing there. And then when we make this, we'll make this 100. Let's see if I can, oh, it doesn't allow me to do that, eh? Constraint proportions. That's good. So this will be -100, and that will be like that. Yay. Okay, cool. So now if I bring this back, it kind of does what I want. And what I want to do is I want to move this arm here. I want to move this whole thing to there. So it kind of has this hand here, but the shoulder connects there, right? So that's kind of a bit better. And then maybe add some black on the other side. Because we don't really have an arm. Not really. You can't see a great arm. So we're just guessing what the artist really intended. So maybe add some of that black. Right again. My eyedropper is really not working. So maybe add some blacks on this side this time, and then take away some of this on this side. Just maybe lighten it up with some of the other lighter colors. So although that might just work out the way it is, but for this one, maybe not so much. So maybe just do another little, and again, this is kind of trial and error. That's not bad. For me, because I don't know what the artist originally intended. So, you know, we can make sure that, well, that's this one. Make sure that that's, all right, and then, you know, just to make sure that we're going to a couple of layers here. I'm just going to kind of select all, and then just, we're going to flatten selection. So it's one layer again. Okay, so yeah, that's not bad. I mean, this is probably where the, you know, thing is going to be, but I'm just going to keep drawing. So I'm going to go back and just get rid of some of this darkness over here. Not really what I want. I want it to be a little darker than the blue. Not the kind of that blue. There we go. And there we go here. And just add a little bit of underarm there that this is going to show. So kind of a ball joint, but going the other way around. All right, cool. I guess that's good for enough for the left arm. So file, save as, and we're going to say left arm. We got our dude. We've got our guy finally. You know, and this is what happens, right? We have to kind of make this stuff happen if we want to use Anima2D. So we're going to we've made this guy. We've got a right arm, right leg, left leg, the right arm, and the left arm that's normally hidden, the head and the body. And then we're going to use this to create our character next. Okay, so let us close all this stuff off because I don't want to leave this all open. And we're going to close Fireworks just to conserve on memory. And now what we're going to do is we're going to bring up Texture Packer. Here's our Texture Packer, and we've got it set to Unity. And again, if you don't have Texture Packer, you can always grab this stuff off of GitHub. I'm going to go into the area that I have, which is the everything, which is on desktop, under folders, under Unity 2D, Unity projects, and this is the one that I'm working on right now. I'm going to go into assets, and I'm going to go into the sprites area where I have hero parts. Yay, hero parts. I also have this extra stuff that I'm going to get rid of. I don't need that because I created that by accident. I'm going to grab these body parts here and drag and drop them into my sprite sheet. So I still want to use a sprite sheet. But you can see now that I got a right arm, kind of, or left arm, and, or yeah, there's the left arm, and here's the right arm. A little different than, you know, from one from the other. That's looking really weird, though. That's part there for the right arm. I don't know why that looks so distorted. Let's just check that out. Because that shouldn't be. I wonder why that is like that. God, gotta bring that up again. So go back to right arm. I want to see why. Did we capture additional information? We didn't have that there before. And I'm pretty sure that there wasn't anything that's looking so blocky. Now, again, this could be just the way Texture Packer is looking at it and packing it. But I want to make sure there's, yeah, it doesn't look like there's that information there. It is looking pretty leaner here. All right, so that's okay. I wonder why that is. Let's see if we can lean it out. So go back to Texture Packer. So here's this arm. And now there is some compression. There's an algorithm, max, rex, or basic. I want to use basic, that's for sure. I definitely want to use power of 2, right? Because that's the size that I want to use, right? So I want to go from a trim mode, I want to go none, so no trimming. I want to go to advanced settings here, and power of 2 is definitely going to be on. I don't know if I need such a big object, so I'm going to go cut this down to 1024 by 1024, just from a size. Actually, no, that's the resolution. That's the max size. And yeah, you know what? Let's go put that back. It doesn't really matter for us because, you know, it's not going to really affect us too much. It's so small. All right. So again, algorithm is basic. Sort by best. I want to sort by the name. So that just makes it so it's a little bit easier. Sort object. I want to trim. Trim mode is none, right? I definitely want to have my trim margin. If I'm going to add trim at all or some kind of border padding, I can do that. So there's a padding around everything just so it can pick up a little nicer. Okay, that's what this does. And then, of course, I got to change my texture file. So I'm going to select my texture file. I'm going to go back out to Unity projects. I'm going to go into COMP305 platformer demo, inside my assets, inside my sprite sheets. And I'm going to call this the new hero, right? So this is the hero parts sprite sheet. That's what it's going to be. So hero parts. Okay. And that's what it's going to be called. I'm also going to change the data file that it needs. So where it says it's got to go in the same place. Now this is not the right one. That's sometimes what happens with the Mac, which bugs me a little bit, but it is what it is. And into assets, sprite sheets, and just call that same thing, hero parts. It's the data file for this thing, for the spreadsheet itself. Great. I'm ready to go and compress it, and we're just going to publish the sheets. There we go. It's done. I'm also going to save my project just in case I want to go in there and add something or change something later on. So I'm going to save the project. It's going to bring up where is this thing? Again, going back one more time. I know it's kind of annoying, but then we're done. I'm going to go back into platform demo. It's the wrong one. COMP305 platformer demo. Then we're going to go into assets, sprite sheets, and this is where this thing is going to be called hero parts. So it's not just the sprite sheet, but also the texture packer file. So I can always go back in there and just open this up again, and we're good to go. And I can modify what I have. Okay, cool. So that's done. Great thing about this is when we do this, we should get the hero parts directly inside of our Unity project now. And this is the parts we want to use. So kind of how we're going to construct our hero. Here's our hero right now. And we didn't make a prefab of him. We do have this player behavior that we're still going to use on our hero eventually. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of him because we're going to make him from scratch. Okay, the hero. And I'm going to save my scene. I'm going to save my project. And what I'm going to do now for those people that are watching is close Unity and push this up to GitHub with the new assets. So I'm going to go here, git add dot, oops, git add dot, git commit -m, and I'm going to say added hero parts. There we go. And then clear the screen, git push origin master. And that should push everything up to master. So you guys should have what I have now if you go grab this project. Great. Okay, now let's open the Unity back up. Close off texture packer just to save memory, and open Unity back up. Oop, not that. Open Unity back up. And when we open Unity back up, what we want to do is start with this other parts that I want to create with you. All right. It's resolving packages as it's opening things up. And wonderfully, it's going to be ready to go in a second. Yay. Okay, cool. So we've got our package. We want to make a new hero. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to organize ourselves a little bit differently. I've got my animator and my animation here at the top, and I'm going to be using them a lot. So this is where you make a decision to change your layout. Like right now, my layout is my Tom's layout. So if I go to Tom's layout, it gives me my layout the way I like it, as an example, right? I'm going to make an alternate of Tom's layout here, and you can make your own layout, of course, by dragging and dropping this, animation. Now, there's other layouts that are defaulted here that you can go through, that you can create, like the default layout. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the animator and the animations. I want kind of an animation at the bottom of my screen. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cut this out and put an animation kind of grid at the bottom. Make this a little wider, or as wide as I can make it. And so that's my animation clip that I got down there. And then down in here, I'm going to take my animator also and kind of make it a little thing down here. So I'm going to be doing some animations, and it's kind of a really good thing to see this. My game also kind of looks pretty ugly right now. My camera, I don't like it being like this. Let's just make it so it's a little darker, maybe black. Just make it so it's easier for us to see. So that's what my game is going to look like right now. My scene, you have some other stuff you can turn off with gizmos. I don't want to see my grid, just to get rid of that for you guys. That's one thing I want to do. So that's the thing that I've got here. So I'm going to use my animation, and I want to make my character. One thing I don't have is prefabs. I'm going to make that new folder, prefabs, right? That's my prefab folder. Eventually, I'm going to make some other stuff in here as well. We're going to create, this kind of sprite meshes, not sprites or sprite sheets, but another folder. So I'm going to kind of create that in advance. I'm going to say that we're going to call this sprite meshes. We're going to need that in a second. So sprite meshes. We're going to prepare ourselves. Okay, cool. Now I want to make an empty object. So here in the main hierarchy, make a new empty object. We're going to call this hero. So hero. Okay, and our hero is going to have this animation. But for this, he's going to need his meshes. We're going to combine these Anima2D meshes in here. And the way Anima2D works is it takes your sprites. So if I look at the sprites, here's my hero parts. And these can be made into meshes, right? Now, I also have, if you remember, right, I have my sprite sheets. So I made a sprite sheet, which is kind of cool. Here's my hero part sprite sheet. And I can use these as meshes. Now to make my guy a little bigger, so we can see him, because right now he's 100 pixels per unit, which is pretty small. Let's make this something like 50 pixels per unit, or even smaller, like, I don't know, 10 pixels per unit. So it's really big, right? And it'll really show up on our game. Like right now, our game is kind of 1 by 1. You'll see that he'll be really big on our screen when it comes to the game. And that's what we really want to do. We can always change this back later, but it'll affect the way the whole game works, right? Maybe, I mean, we could make it pixel perfect, but I don't recommend that for our game. It might be a little bit too big. Maybe keep it at 50. Yeah, maybe 50 is right. And then we're going to apply those changes so that my hero parts spreadsheet is all 50 pixels per unit, right? So it's kind of, it's not 1-to-1. It's a little smaller, but it's not, it's kind of doable for us. Okay, cool. So now what I want to do is I want to go right click here. And what you can do is you can create an Anima2D sprite mesh. Okay, that's what you do. So when you do that, I'm going to have a bunch of these sprite meshes. Now, it would be really nice if I can just grab all these and right click, and then you'll create Anima2D sprite mesh. But it won't do that. It'll create one at a time. So I want to go this. I want to create Anima2D sprite mesh. It'd be nice if I had some kind of key to do that too. So left arm, left leg, create Anima2D sprite mesh. Create Anima2D sprite mesh. And one more, create Anima2D sprite mesh. All right, so I kind of created all those. Now we should have body, head, left arm, left leg, right arm, right leg. Okay, so go grab all those things. And that's why I created that extra folder. I have this thing called sprite meshes. I'm just going to drag and drop this into there. And I'm going to also make another little folder. So I'm going to make another one for the enemy eventually. And I'm going to grab all these things and put them inside this hero sprite meshes. Good. Now that I've got them, I can go in here and copy and paste them into my hero empty, right? So I'm going to want to grab that and drag and drop them into here. And oh, of course it didn't do that. It says multiple, but it only grabs one at a time. I love it. All right, this, my body, left arm, left leg, right arm, right leg. Oh yeah, it's working great today. All right, and we got everything combined into like this thing. So if I kind of go here and press F for frame select, you can see that they're all kind of combined all over the place together, which makes it really difficult to kind of see, right? So the tricks that I like to use is I want to keep my body centered. Now they're all zeroed out here, but my head and everything else can move aside. So I'm kind of going to move this head just aside for now. Actually, undo that. I'll move it up for now so that it's disembodied a little bit. And here's my left arm. So my left arm will be underneath my body. My right arm will be on top of my body. My right leg is going to be on top of my body. And I got some artifacts here, which we're going to clean up in a bit. And my left leg, I'm going to have over here. Okay. And this is where my body is physically right now, which is kind of cool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my head and I'm going to bring it so it is slightly, see if I can bring that down a little bit. So just on top of my body, there's a bit of a neck there that you can hardly see. But I'm going to bring it so that the head is sitting just on top of the body like so. Okay, so let's just zoom in there so you can see what I'm doing. All right, so you can see that there's a bit of a neck, and I want the neck to kind of be centered on the body itself. So there's the body. The head's going to just sit right there on the neck, and that's where it's going to be. All right, so that's the first part. The next part is assembling the rest of the body. So there's the leg. I want to kind of grab this thing. And I'm going to bring it so that it's going to sit here, but notice it's going to be underneath for the most part. We're going to see that there's a need for that later on. Okay, and there's the other leg. We're going to put this one. I'm just going to grab this little thing, and it's going to be underneath on this side. Okay, so it's going to be over here on this side. That's where the other leg's going to be positioned, but they're the same size. Now, they're kind of layered funny, but we're going to fix that. And the same thing goes with this. This is going to be over here, and this is going to be over here. Okay, that's where I want my guy to be, but we have some problems, as you can see, with the layering, right? But we're going to fix that now. So one thing to do is when we have our head, you got to think about what's first and what's second. I'd like to have my arm as the 0th layer. Then on top of one layer higher is going to be my left leg. So my left leg is going to be one layer higher. So this left leg, it's going to be a layer 1. So layer 0, layer 1. Then it's going to be my right leg. Okay, bear with me while I do this. And this is going to be layer 2. Okay, so my right leg is going to seem that it's over top my left leg, right? Right leg on top of left leg. Then I'm going to have my body, right? So 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So here's my body. And then on top of the body, I'm going to have my arm, which is going to be 4. Now that looks a little better. Now still this arm here is still not quite positioned properly because we got to put it here. So it's kind of hidden. So it's looking a little better. Now my head is going to be last, and it's going to be just one layer higher than my body. So instead of 3, this will be the same layer. It'll be like layer 4. All right, that looks pretty good. That looks much better. But my arm seems to be kind of sticking out there, and we don't normally see that. I want to kind of rotate it. So I'm going to kind of grab the rotation tool here and just rotate this a little bit so that it is right here like this. And then move this arm back. Move the arm back so that it is, kind of in there a little bit. Just push back just a touch. There we go. All right, so that really gives us the idea of what our character should look like. I mean, even the hand is kind of, I think it probably should be even hidden even more, right? So because he's going to be covered by this thing, so maybe we can rotate, we can move that arm back just even a bit more because it'll be the shoulder will be right up here somewhere, right? So that's pretty cool. So we can see our hand, we can see this hand. He looks different, right? So the expectation is not that he's going to be the same. He's going to look different. And the first animation pose we're going to create is his idle pose. All right, so we got some stuff going on. So this is cool, right? Now what I want to do, and this is the challenge with Unity, is when you start moving stuff around, sometimes Unity will crash. Oh, Rama. Hopefully it won't do that now. It'll recover. sometimes it takes a second to save what I'm doing, right? But yeah, you should be saving your scenes like crazy, guys, because like I'm seeing right now, it looks like Unity has crashed out on me. It happens. And it's not because I'm not, I'm using too much memory, although I'm recording and everything else. It looks like just that this thing is just spinning out. All right, so what it means is I have to reload my scene. He won't be in here anymore, and I have to do this work again, right? It's unfortunate, but I couldn't have a chance to save my scene before it happened. I'm trying, but it's just not really letting me do that. Okay, so let us force quit. The application's not responding anyway. And let's get back in there so we can finish this off, this part, and then I'll put it up on GitHub again. And we should have everything. And that's what I kind of do this for. See, I do a lot of this pushing stuff where, I'll kind of do a commit regularly because of just this thing. Like worst case scenario, if I lose everything, I got my, let's say the project is totally corrupted now, worst case scenario, I have everything up on GitHub where I can go back. Now you can tell that this is not done again. But the good thing is my sprite mesh is here. I've already done this part because that's whatever gets recorded in the assets gets recorded. So let's do this one more time. So the main camera, again, I made that kind of a darker black. I kind of changed that. Save scene. I went to my scene and I took some of this stuff away, which it remembered. I'm going to make a new empty called, again, we're going to call this the hero. We're going to zero this empty out. That's important to do because I didn't do that last time. So I'm going to basically do, oh yeah, not liking this for sure today. I'm just moving too quick for Unity. Too quick. Yep. Well, at least the camera will remember. How about that? Them apples. I love it. It's fantastic when you're trying to do a demo remotely, and normally it would work no problem. I've been working on this all day, in fact, right? And it's no problem. But as soon as you start recording on YouTube, funny things start to happen. So we're just going to wait for something. Now, I'd recommend you fast forward while this is happening as I'm recording live right now, and I can't do that. Okay, so I got my camera, and before I go into my scene, looks like Unity is actually paying attention to me right now. I'm going to make this hero, and instead of using everything from the get-go, I'm going to zero this out. So reset position is what I want. So to make this zeros, these are zeros, save that too. So I got my hero parts. And now I'm going to get my sprite meshes again. Now, and I'm going to bring these in, like I said, one at a time. So here's my, in the sprite mesh itself. Here's my sprite mesh. Right, there it is. My body, my head. It's going to be on top of each other again. But we're going to fix this up in a bit. Right? Left arm. Oh yeah, it's all going all over the place too. I love it. I meant to go there. Right arm, left leg, and right leg. We're gonna fix this up again. And as we know, remember all the way it was done anyway. It's not that big of a deal. But just to see it, you're gonna see it one more time. So again, what I like to do is keep my body in place, and I like to move my head away so I can see these parts. Right, that's my right leg. So move this over here, and my right arm, I move that over there, just to separate these arms so that you can see what they look like. There we go. Of course, my left arm and my right arm seem to be parented, which is not what I wanted. There we go. And then my body is staying where it is. And there's my right leg, and my left leg didn't come through. Oh, yeah. There it is. And just move that to the side. There we go. Okay, cool. So then move this one. Remember the order? We made this one 0. We made this one 1. So we'll do this right away. 1. Right? Then order and layer is important because this will be kind of at the back. This will be a little further. This will be 2, right? Right, 2. So this will be there. This will be 3, right? And then this will be on top of that. This will be 4. And this will just be at top of the same level as my head, let's say, or my everything else. We'll make this 5. Now that I got that, if I layer it together, I've saved the scene. At least we got that part done. And then we'll kind of move this in place. And move this in place again. So again, we're just forming up the character, right? So I move this guy back over, put Humpty back together here. All right, and move this arm. Now remember, we also rotated the arm here, this other arm. We're going to do the same thing. Move this over here, right? So he's not going to look exactly the same. He's going to be slightly different because we got him a bit of a perspective here, but we're going to try and make it so that he's more or less what he was before. Okay, cool. So we've got this arm here, and this arm, what I want to do, like I said, is probably rotate it just a touch. So I'm just going to go to rotation and move this a little bit in. And then I'm going to go to change the just this position so that it is this part of where the shoulder is going to be on the other side. So you can just see his hand just like that. Okay, so good. So I've saved this character now, and you can see that for the most part, he's there. If I go to the game, you can see how big he's going to appear in our game. Unfortunately, what's happened is also what Unity does is the layout wasn't saved. So we're going to just fix that layout again. So I'm going to kind of move this over as much as possible in the inspector. And what I want to do is I want to make that layout happen. So I'm going to pull the animator or the animation down into the screen. So in my scene, let's pull that animation layer down, pull the animator down as a tab next to it, save the scene, right? So I've got these two things. So I'm going to be working with animations, right? That's what I want to do. And so this is something that I'm ready to go with this guy now, okay? Now he's got his body parts. And the great thing about each of these body parts is I want to start modifying them, because in order for us to do what I want to do, you got to edit the sprite mesh of each of these body parts. So let's start off with the body. So I'm going to go into the body, and I'm going to click Edit Sprite Mesh, which is going to bring up my Sprite Mesh editor, right? So there is under here, under Anima2D, there is a Sprite Mesh editor, right? I'm going to take the Sprite Mesh editor and I'm going to put it as a kind of a tab up here, right? So I'm going to put it next to the scene. And that way I can see my Sprite Mesh. This is the editor, and I can kind of flip back and forth to see the changes that I'm making, right? So now right now I'm kind of in on this body part, what I got right. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. So here's my body part. Now you can see that this is the body, and what I'm doing with it is I want to add geometry. But the first thing I want to do here is I want to slice up my mesh. So I'm here, go here, I'm going to click Apply, which is going to slice up my mesh, and you see that you've got these control points. So I got some control points from my mesh, and what they are is almost like this mesh. It's like a mesh collider, similar to what we did with the mesh collider. But what this will allow us to do is clean up some of these areas, right, and create vertices in here, so we can do deformations. Okay, so we're going to deform a mesh. So we're going to press Shift, click, which is going to add a bunch of these additional control points here. Just shift clicking, making sure that I just don't. If I don't drag, if you just kind of shift, you can drag this over, right? And I want to kind of add these additional verts, right? So I want to kind of grab this part. Here's another vert, and I want to kind of make sure that these vertices are kind of in line. There's a little black space there. I'm not sure where that came from. Probably from the conversion. Sometimes Unity doesn't do a perfect job. Most of the time it does, though, but it's just this new stuff sometimes isn't perfect. And maybe grab that one, bring it in here, and that one there. So I don't care to see that black spot, whatever that black spot is in the body anymore. Same thing with this. I got this really big black spot. And I'm not sure if it's a texture packer that did it for us or whatever. Normally we don't have that undo. I don't want the line there. That's a line, right? So let's just have this thing pop up. There we go. And again, I'm just going to click and click. It's almost like a click first and click again. Just the vertices that I want to modify. So that all I want is my, my mesh to be highlighted, but nothing else. So it's almost like making a mesh collider, right, in 3D. That's what I find. I'm going to just add some additional geometry here. All right, so that we just have some geometry for our mesh. Okay, so some places where the other pieces in here can interact with. And just one more. Okay, good. I mean, maybe bring this in. All right, so now I have a little bit of some geometry inside the body. And if I was to apply this, just to give you an idea, and I go back to the scene, you can see that the body actually, I cropped it pretty good. It actually cleaned it up and took some of the anti-aliasing away. So you got to really be careful with what this does and how it changes things, because it does crop it like completely. So I'll go back to my Sprite Mesh editor. Oh, we're going to have one of those days today, peoples. If it keeps doing this. Sprite Mesh editor. Oh, yeah. Like some serious memory that's being used here. Yeah. Well, hopefully it's going to remember. I did apply the changes, so hopefully it'll remember that inside my head. And I did do this. I did save. I just don't save as often as I could, I guess. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, let's kick it off again. Ooh, I love when I have problems. Not. I'm pretty soon we'll take a small break until we do this part. So it won't be so bad. Okay. Yay. Sprite right leg. Okay, let's see what happened with our guy here. Okay, so we lost some of that. Take a look at that, eh? We lost our animation parts, the parts we moved down here for some reason or another. But let's take a look at, see the body. If I go to my window Anima2D Sprite Mesh editor, bring that up, and let's see if, yeah, so it saved everything. Luckily, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't a catastrophe like it could have been, right? It's just slowing us down. Yeah, so you notice this extra anti-aliasing stuff got lost. So if you want to add it back in, like I said, you can just go back in there and you don't have to crop as close. That's all. And what Unity actually has done is trying to figure out what we wanted. And we want a little bit more outside the body here, just because otherwise we're going to have, we're missing that anti-aliasing stuff that we worked so hard to get, actually. All right, hopefully that will be a little better. Okay, and maybe add another control point down there. Shift click. Okay, there we go. Now we know that the body's going to deform, and I want some additional points where the body is going to deform, which is probably going to be in here on the waist. So I'm going to double click on areas here, just along this line, where it's going to add additional vertices, so I have some geometry, so I can deform the body, right? That's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to save that. I'm going to apply the changes. Oh yeah, oh, I'm going to save a lot now, and that's great. Now I want to go to the next one. So I'm going to go to the head. So I'm going to click on Sprite Meshes, and I want to go to the head. There it is, and I'll do the same thing with this. So I'm going to kind of zoom out here because it's a little big. And I'm going to go against slice. So I'm going to go do the slicing. So it's going to slice this up as best as possible. Close this up. And now, again, you know, knowing what it did, what Unity did, I'm going to continue to keep some of that stuff there. So it did not a bad job like before. But what I want to try and do is kind of come a little bit closer here. So control click, or sure, shift click, just to come on the outside here of my head. So here, shift click. And then shift click just to make those changes come about. Not too much, because I still want to keep that anti-aliasing, like I said, or else it'll kind of look weird. And then, you know, bring that in. Now you see that's what this was. This is hair. So shift click. I want to do that. I want to get that hair in there. Right? So shift click right in there. And then this part will just drag in a little bit closer. A little bit closer. Right? It's not bad. And maybe shift click this one as well, just to add some additional geometry in there for the head. All right, and now there's not going to be much deformation of the head, because the head is just going to be, it's the neck that's going to have the most. So I'm going to kind of do, we don't have much of a neck, and this guy has kind of a pencil neck. All right, so we'll add some more points in there. So the neck can be kind of highlighted. There we go. Save. Okay, and then in here, we're going to just double click just to add in additional geometry. So more vertices in here, because this is where I want, if we're going to have any kind of deformation, to have happen right here. Otherwise, the head's going to stay intact. I'm not going to really move the head or the eyes or anything like that. Not in our case, anyway. Maybe even here, if I want to, I can move this part, but I'm not going to. I could put a bone in each one of the hair to kind of move it with like more naturally. But I will put this a little bit closer in because I think that's probably still too far out. There we go. All right, save that and then apply that change. Okay, cool. So let's take a look what it looks like. Again, we're looking pretty good. Okay, it looks pretty good. It's got that hair. He's got his head shape looks okay. And we'll go to the left arm. Again, this is all mesh modification stuff, right? So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to the left arm here. So there it is. And then again, I want to kind of slice that up. So apply the slicing. There it is. Now it's not perfect. They kind of missed some of this other parts, but that's okay. We're going to fix that. So we're going to put this control point over here, right? And we're just going to zoom in a little more so we can see that. That's probably the best I can get here. Make sure that that part is there, else we'll miss some of this lovely stuff. And so I'm going to zoom in, move that point there, move that point there, another one. And again, I want to kind of add in more control points so that I have more control of what's going to happen with my mesh. The more of these I add in, it becomes more computationally expensive, right? That's one thing it does do. But from a single, like there's only one player right now, it's not that bad. Okay, and now you're gonna ask so Tom, what's the advantage of using this thing? Like, what's the point? Why are we doing all this work? Why not just take a sprite sheet like we did before? Because like I said, there's lots of control you get from doing this, and you can create other animations that you may not have had because maybe your artist only created certain body parts. And for the artist, this is great too, because now for the artist, all you have to do is create your body parts, and then you create your clips from there, right? So kind of cool, as opposed to drawing all those poses over and over again, right? Again, artists may feel differently about this and may disagree. So, you know, especially classic animation is done a lot differently than this. One thing I do want to do is add some deformation here on this is probably where the elbow is going to be. You can't see it, but I want to kind of definitely add some control points here so that it knows where the elbow is going to be. So that's where there's going to be deformation here. The hand, I'm not going to make a hand, and there's going to be deformations up here. So definitely along the shoulder, this area here, I want to add some additional control points just so that way there's more areas to deform here and here. This part, not really, but just add another one or two. Okay, so save, apply, and save, and that's that left arm. Okay, cool. Left leg, let's do this again. So slice, you can see that the process, slicing it, I dice it. And again, I probably could have chosen a different thing for this, but it's okay, because then we can just go in here and modify this. This is the part of the Anima2D stuff that is long. And the rest, once we do the animation pieces, you'll see what the advantages are for this. We'll also have a chance to learn how to make custom clips, which we didn't do last week, only because, you know, we can't get there. And okay, so shift click. I kind of shift click shift. I kind of click first and then so click first and then click again, and then to create that. If you click and drag, sometimes you get this annoying line, which we don't want. So that's the kind of way it works. There we go. And again, I just want to highlight this leg by kind of doing one of these, right? And just maybe add some more points there along the way to help with some of that deformation that's going to happen in the knee area, which is right here. So first, again, I'll save, I'll apply, and I'll add by double clicking here where the knee is going to be, somewhere in the middle, right? I'm going to add some additional verts right here. So we have some there, and maybe here in the foot area, because I'm definitely going to have deformation in the foot, right? So I want the foot and the ankle area to deform. So I'm going to add some areas here where I'm predicting that there's going to be kind of a deformation of the mesh, right? Maybe up here too, just a couple of them. You know, so maybe some more control points in there again. Okay, so cool. So we've got our left leg. So save and apply, save again. Lots of saving today. Okay, right arm. Cool, same thing, right? So we're going to go slice and dice, and then click there again, and then zoom in as much as we can. We'll fix the arm up. This is the right arm this time. Definitely above here. We saw that was a problem. And click and shift click. We're going to bring this out here. Click and shift click over here, and bring this down here. Click and shift click. Bring this over here. Click and shift click to bring this up here. And then we'll bring this over here. And then click and shift click. And we'll bring this over here until we have the shape we want, which is just, you know, to give us additional geometry around the arm and the hand. Oh, that was weird. Shift click. Like I said, you get some kinds of this really weird line that comes up. And I guess it's for other reasons, but I never use it that way. Okay. Click, shift click. Click, shift click. And then move that over here. Click, shift click. Click, shift click. I know I'm telling you what to do, but that way you know what I'm doing. So that way you're not like, hey, how's he doing that? I mean, you probably got it by now. All right, so we kind of did the arm as best as possible. Again, it's kind of weird because this part, but you're going to have some additional geometry requirements in here because this is probably going to be where the elbow is. I don't have a definitive elbow. Maybe in another kind of object we'd have it. I'm not going to make a hand. Definitely in the shoulder area, you're going to need a little bit of geometry there if there's any kind of deformation here, but I don't suspect there will be too much. All right, and save, apply, and save again. And the last one, the right leg, which is right here. Okay, so there's the right leg. Let's see if we can change the mesh from the get-go. So kind of do one of these so we don't have to really deform too much more, because otherwise, you know, the slicing and dicing part is just, sometimes Unity just doesn't slice properly. Okay, there seems to be right, about right. Slice. Haha. It didn't listen to me anyway. Who cares what Tom thought? Okay, cool. So now I've got this and I've got this. Actually, didn't do so bad. And I've got this control point here, and I want to add another one. So shift and click and get that one back over there. Shift and click. There we go. And this is a pretty straight leg here, so there's not a lot. But we want to add more because it adds those little lines. And those little lines are, you know, edges that are added to the vertices or connect with the vertices. So that way you can have more, the computer knows what to do a little more when it comes to calculate this stuff. So I want to add some of these additional ones, maybe one. This is where the knee is going to be. So kind of click one of those and one of those, and maybe someone there and there and in there and in there and there. And then maybe some more verts in here, because notice that was a weird dark spot because it didn't know what to do. That's what it is. So all around in here, I definitely want to create verts around the ankle area, more of them. And that way you'll have additional geometry so it knows how to deform the foot. And then same thing within here, inside where we think the knee is going to be, which is going to be probably somewhere over here, right? And we're going to have some deformations. I'm just kind of clicking in this pattern, like kind of like along a strip here, in order for you to have those verts too. Okay, so we've got this part maybe here on the top. Here we go. So we have the area here. I don't need much of anywhere else, so save and then apply and save again. And now when I go back to the hero in the scene, you can see that he's kind of clipped. I don't know if I like his arm the way it is, but it looks weird. Let's see what it looks like in game. So it kind of looks like this in game. So that part of his arm, for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, and this part here definitely has to be fixed up, this part here. Okay, so this part in his, looks like his shoe, his leg. So let's go back to, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank God it saved. So now we're just so as you saw, so what I did there, well, I'll talk while this is loading again. What I did there was, as I was working on this just to create the mesh and add geometry, so more information around the mesh, so that when it deforms, right, you know, then it'll know what to do. That's really what it's what I was trying to do there. Okay, cool. And what I was looking at, seeing the areas that are deficient. So going back to the scene, you see that there's an area here and the area on his arm. I want to fix those up. So I'm going to go back to my sprite meshes. So it looks like the right leg, right? The right leg has a problem because there's like this little white area there. It's really bizarre, which is right in here. Not sure why that is that. And his left arm, his right arm also has this area here that's coming across really weird, right? When it comes into the sprite. Maybe that's the way we're scaling or whatever. But anyways, we're going to go to Window, Anima2D, Sprite Mesh Editor. And wow, this is really loving me today. So you know what? This is a great place to take a break because I've already done this work and it's saved. So I'm going to take a short break and I'm going to kind of load up Unity again, maybe reboot the system, and then hopefully that'll be a little better. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes.